Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Boy and Girl Thing. I'm Kit Smith, and I'm the author of the book, Let's Meet Our Match, Your Complete Guide to Success in the World of Internet Dating. And tagging along on my left, as
here
always.
I am again. I'm
Okay.
Cece Schatz.
Yep, and she is?
I am the doyen of relationships.
You got it right.
I know. I
love
it. Sometimes I have to be smart. But I really help you. I take you through divorce, recovery, transition into dating, and now we're heading into dating. We're going full street theme.
You actually address a lot of different things.
I do.
Singles in entrepreneurship, singles in religion, travel.
Travel, yeah. We have a big going solo travelers group. There's like 600 and some people in the group.
Wow.
I mean,
that's great.
And we haven't done any traveling yet, but hopefully we'll start doing that. But I'm starting to plan things for next year, so I'm getting excited about that.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So those of you, we weren't able to actually post on our WGSN-DB Going Solo network page. For some reason, the software would not let us do it, but we are here on my timeline. So all my friends, I hope that you'll join in. I love you guys, and so thank you so much. I hope that you'll be here with us for the show, because we got this awesome show tonight.
Oh, no question. We're really fortunate to have a lovely lady to come on and be our guest this week.
Let's kick it off here.
And we're going to tell her to put her glass up. Her name is Marcey Walsh, and she can tell us all about.
We have a little intro here for you.
There we go.
Go ahead. Our guest today, Marcey Walsh, is a finder. If you've got something lost and disturbing, short period of time, she'll find it. Go ahead.
What's unique about her is that she works in the field of neuroscience, mainly in the medical and financial fields. When clients kept lamenting, "I just want life to make sense," she started a 12-year journey to figure it out. She shares that journey in her upcoming book, Before It's Too Late. Besides coaching and speaking nationally, she has worked with brands including Microsoft, Verizon, and Raymond James Financial to help their services make sense to customers. People work with Marcey because they know that something in life needs to change. She helps them figure out exactly what changes they want and outwit their brain to get off the couch and out of the refrigerator and do it. In short, she's really good at helping people stop the self-sabotage and begin to self-care, sometimes for the first time ever in their lives.
So we have a great show tonight, and our topic is, let's bring up our topic, which is, here we go. And that's what our topic is. So we're going to bring Marcey to the stage. She'll be here in just one moment. Hey, Marcey.
There she is.
Hey, welcome.
It's great having you. Cheers. Okay. Well, Marcey, you have done a lot in your lifetime. So tell us, how did you get started with doing what you're doing now, and talk about the secrets to the low regret dating. I know that you're also an author of Before It's Too Late. So how did that come about?
Well, I got really good at finding ways to make things easy to understand, because I used to work with 40,000 teenagers every year. And in order to get them to listen and get them to understand, you had to be pretty darn creative. And it turns out that that works with adults too. And when I ended up going through a divorce that I never wanted, learning how to date really for the first time, because I got engaged right out of college, it took me years to figure out how somebody who's kind of smart and very educated still made so many mistakes. And I ended up developing a process that makes it really easy to start to see life as a long-term process, but that all of my windows of opportunity were very narrow. And I was making short-term decisions in long-term situations. And that's the whole basis for my work with diabetes educators, financial planners, is getting people to get that picture back in their head that these opportunities are short. So I need to get off the couch and get going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question about it. That sounds great.
Well, that happens a lot in dating too. Everyone, they get a little bit stressed out or whatever, and they get real comfortable on that sofa.
And you get frustrated.
Yeah.
And there are times when you feel like, oh, the heck with this, and it's just, sometimes you feel like you're beating your head against the wall.
Yeah. Well, and also too, I think we kind of get set in our ways a little bit, so it's harder.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Especially when we're a little bit older and we kind of have that path.
And I think that's a key. I mean, we
and you should know that, Steve. I'm just helping you along. I'm just I'm going with you. I'm just giving you that
every chance you can.
I know.
Well, I'll tell you what made a huge difference is I did years of research and I came up with a really valuable statistic. I realized that everybody I dated, out of all the people I dated, a full 98% of them were human.
What about the other 2%?
Those were the ones that when you walked in to have a drink, you turned around and you just walked back out.
Yeah.
You know who they are. You know who they are. So once I realized that they were all human, that meant that my neuroscience geek could bump into place and realize that everything that I was going through and the ups and downs and the windows of struggle, they pretty much had to do with what was going on with the chemicals in my brain. Kit, you're always talking about chemistry. When you're talking about neuroscience, it's that
that's
emotions.
What it is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And emotions are not mental. Emotions are chemical. They're physical. And when you feel an emotion, whether it's anger or lust or joy, whatever it might be, you're getting a 90-second rush of endorphins through your brain. And for 90 seconds, you have no control over that. It's in the 91st second that we decide I'm going to go with this, it's working for me, or I'm going to change what I'm doing because, basically what I found out is out of all these 98% of humans, there were many, many right ones for me. Over the course of 5 years, I met at least 4 or 5 of them. The thing that was hard was finding the right person in the right situation at the right time.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing some feedback now, Cece. I don't know if you're hearing it.
Nope.
All right. See if I can help with that on this end.
Okay. Sorry.
See if that takes care of it. So finding the right person at the right time is what made the difference. And I mean, I met people who were the right person, but they were already married. And we're not even going to go down that road because let's just say
for another show. Yeah, we'll save that for another show. It's just that is to me the absolute biggest obstacle to making online or internet dating work is the human element of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, if it weren't for humans, we'd have no problem at all.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's just I've coached people and mentored people with the idea that so many of them, for example, they when you begin the communication with someone off of an online dating site, many of them begin to feel that they're absolutely creating a relationship right then and there. And then what happens is they meet in person, see one another, and one or both, boom, it's like a bomb went off and it's not going to work.
Right. It's like kissing your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or kissing your sister, or
well, or like kissing your brother. Careful what you say here. And that's where the process kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we have a phrase that we started using at the end of every single first date. So this is my take on it, that when you do finally meet someone in person, and people will think that all that online chatting and all that online dating and the phone conversations at 3 a.m, all that stuff, you think that counts as time served. You know, people will say, oh, we've been together for 3 months. No, you haven't met yet, but you have been communicating. So that just means you decided it's worth going to the next step, which is actually getting eyeball to eyeball. So once you're eyeball to eyeball, the way we structured is your window of opportunity is 3 dates. Because, and I think I may have heard you say this, Kit, by 3 dates, you can tell if there's a connection. You can tell if the chemistry is there.
I have a question. On the 3 dates, is that when you first meet? Because I don't consider the very first meet, the very first time you meet each other, I don't consider that an actual date.
Let's say you have some wiggle room and you can decide. Yeah. You say the magic phrase when you've decided to have the next date.
And that's if you're even lucky enough to get a second date.
Right, you both have to feel the same way.
And I'm a big believer, and I have stated this numerous times on this show, okay? You get one chance to make a first impression. Mm-hmm. And again, at the bottom of women's profiles, they'll say something related to chemistry, and they will say, I'll know, and again, I'm paraphrasing, but they'll say, like, I'll know immediately. I'll know right away. So whether you're like, I'd like to think of myself as the greatest guy in the world. What woman wouldn't want me in her life? But if she's not attracted to me from the eye test, okay, the eye test, she'll never find that out.
Right. So you just learned 2 things about her. First of all, she's not a one for you. Right. Because it's not a right situation. And second of all, she's not very mature. She's going on that emotional, immediate endorphin reaction. And if she isn't hooked into and turned on by your brain by the end of that first meeting, then she's not a match for you.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I said that the meetup, that when you first meet each other, that's not, I don't think it should be counted as a third date. I went out with this guy that he counted that one as the third date, and the third date he was expecting to have sex. He said, well, it's the third date. And I said, no, it's only the second date. And like, why are we counting, you know? And that's what I found out. He thought on the third date that, you know, we should be having a relationship and that's sex. And it's like, no.
So it's all about expectations.
Yeah.
So when you go, okay. So life is really, really long. It's not short. It's really, really long. But it's made up of windows of opportunity that are very short. So that person in that first meet and greet is so lucky they get to meet you. Yay. Yeah. And then you decide to have a date or to go on to the next one. And you say the magic phrase, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But at that first real date, that's your setting expectations. And it's all I mean, you're a wonderful grown-up person and you're meeting, hopefully, another wonderful grown-up person. And I actually, before I came on here, I looked up a definition of romance. Would you like to hear what the definition of romance is?
Oh,
because
please.
Yeah.
Because the women who were telling you, oh, I'll know right away, or it wasn't romantic enough. So this is it. So the definition of romance is a feeling of mystery, excitement, and remoteness from everyday life. Now, when I work with teenagers, they have a phrase. Do you guys know what IRL is?
No.
Okay, young people spend so much time in the digital world that when they are switching and talking about their real life, they let everybody know and say IRL. In real life,
Yeah.
I drive, on my digital life, I drive a Lexus, but IRL, I have a Volkswagen Bug.
I think I've met a few of those people
Yeah.
when we were dating.
Yeah.
So the thing is, for a grown-up, mature person, you want to know, I want to have a relationship IRL.
Yeah.
So in that first date, that's all about setting expectations for the next 3 dates. And my feeling is after 3 dates, you know if it's a match or not. So do you want to know what the magic question is that you ask at the end of the first date?
Oh, share.
I can't wait. Okay, here it comes.
So you've had the first date or the encounter and you've decided to meet again. You're going to invest the time and the energy and focus in this person. So the phrase you say at the end, once you know that you both agree you want to get together again, it sets the expectations. This is going to be fun.
Mhm.
We're going to find out if we're a match. So that sets the expectation that in 3 dates, you're going to decide if you're a match. And at the end of 3 dates, if one of you says you're not, it's no harm, it's no foul. I came from the generation where you dated somebody unless something horrible went wrong. You know, you had to make them horrible, awful, terrible in order to have a reason to break up. What we learned was when you set the expectation of, this is going to be fun, we're going to find out if we're a match, then maybe at the end of the first date, it's like, okay, what are you thinking? Is this feeling like, should we have another date? Go on to the next one. And at the end of the third, it's, this has been really fun and you are great. And I hope you find the perfect person for you. I'm just not feeling like we're a real match. And what happened was I ended up leaving behind me a trail of really nice guys who I'm still in touch with because they care about me. They were thrilled when I got married. I'm thrilled when I hear that they got married. We didn't have to make each other horrible to break up. We just weren't a match.
Okay.
What's your feeling on that point of view? That's different than you hear when you're talking romance and chemistry. And
I have one experience that I like to point out, and it is I met someone online. This is probably going back like 10 years. And first of all, distance was a little bit of a factor. We lived in the same state in New Jersey, but there was a little bit of a distance element.
Mm-hmm. And in some cases, that would make that not a match, not a great situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, we both had work schedules and whatnot to deal with. So the combination of those two made meeting for the first time difficult. But our conversations online, on the telephone, were just this, there was going to be a volcanic eruption. Okay? So we finally arranged to meet in person. We found some place like halfway between where both of us lived. And Marcey, the instant she got out of the car and looked at me, I could tell immediately nothing. This isn't going anywhere. And I even went as far as to say to her, we don't have to even bother going inside. Okay, it's just if this isn't going to work for you, that's fine. I understand. But I knew, I could see by the look on her face. But she insisted upon going on inside, and I guess maybe out of courtesy, out of respect. I don't know.
Well, I wonder if she had such a great time with you on the phone that she got some sort of relationship there. I mean, mentally in her mind.
Or you were a great match as friends.
Right. And so I think she thought, you know what, let's try to take it a little bit further.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being too much on the, looking at him and he's not doing it for me. But after she talked to you further.
So she was waiting to see if you turned her brain on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing is, I agreed to go inside with her and have a drink. Okay. But I could tell from the conversation, her facial expressions, lack of eye contact. I mean, it's like, why did we bother doing this? I should have never turned my car off, and.
Well, let me ask you a question, Kit.
Sure.
You had so many great conversations. Was there value in meeting your friend?
They were great. I was physically attracted to her, and after that, the conversations were great.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I really like this woman. I can't wait to meet her.
Mm-hmm.
But Marcey, we go back to biology. We go back to DNA, genetics, all those different things that have to do with mating.
Yep.
Okay? And we have an attraction mechanism.
Oh, sure.
Hers was not triggered. Mine
so
was.
She wasn't a match. Yep. So it wasn't a match.
Mine was, but hers wasn't.
And did that make you a bad person or her a bad person? No. You just weren't a match. That takes the sting out of it. That's this whole romance thing that we're fed over the years. It makes it. When we're talking brain chemistry, it's just brain chemistry. It's, wow, you are really cool, and I hope we stay friends. And if I can help you in any way in business or anything I can do, that would be awesome. But I'm feeling we're just not a match as far as romance goes. Right. Are you getting the same feeling? So then you can hug and say, I'm really glad we met, and go back to your lives.
Right. And that's a mature way to handle it. I think that's very, very important.
I mean, driving home, I was terribly disappointed, but it's not like I was ready to drive the car over a cliff.
Yeah, because you're a grown-up.
Yeah.
Just very disappointed and, darn,
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we're going to meet lots of people that are not going to be a match for us. And so that's okay. I mean, it's okay to do that. But it's just how we handle it. And if we can handle it in a mature, kind way, I think that's a great thing. But the thing is, Marcey, we have to just keep doing it, don't we? Because we have to get out there and we have to keep dating, and hopefully, eventually, we will meet the right one.
And I'll tell you, I got to the point where I stopped dating. I started living. And I started joining meetup groups and going kayaking and working out and going dancing. I met a girlfriend that we went social dancing all the time. There's a lot of that here in Tampa. And it ended up that she was dating a guy. And she says, you guys should go out. You might get along. And she pointed to Robert. And I thought, no, he's not my type at all. He was not my type at all. But okay, we'll go out. So we went out and we ended up talking for 8 hours. And we went out, and this, he's the dancing man. What can I say? So the thing that told me that moment that I knew was I leaned up against the wall and I thought, I had never introduced anybody I dated to my grown children ever. And I thought, I'd introduce this one to them. It was the first person I ever said that with. And so there was not that physical attraction right up front. And there wasn't for him either. We'll both admit that. We didn't think we were the type that we wanted, but because we took the time to go to the next step and give a chance for our brains to get excited. Because what you were talking about, Kit, is when we're talking about the life process, there's a period between about 14 and 40 where we're, like you said, dating is pre-mating. It's pre-mating. That's what it is. So we're at the beach now. All the girls have long, gorgeous hair and little skinny bodies and big boobs, and they are designed to mate right now.
Okay, wait a minute. Where's that?
Bradenton Beach. Come on down. I'm not in that. I'm 65. I'm not in that stage anymore. So for me,
over 45. Cut it out.
Checked your glasses lately, but thank you so much. So it's a matter of knowing where you are in the process. So when we get to up about 60, we look back and we see the patterns in life. The problem is life moves too fast and is too expensive. We can't wait any longer to get that mental image that I think we all used to have till about the 50s or 60s. Now it's everything happens right now. Everything has to be fast. And we no longer have the image of being children, then teenagers, then young adults, then grandparents. We don't watch our families go through that anymore. So we don't have that picture until we get in our 60s. And what regret is that you did something, and then time elapsed, and then from a higher level of consciousness, you look back on it and go, oh, crap. I sure wish I'd known then what I know now. Have you guys ever had that happen?
Oh, yeah. Like every other day.
The thing is, so that's why this technique that got developed for low regret living, it allows people like in their teens and 20s to get this mental picture. So they stop doing the one thing that causes self-sabotage over and over and over again, which is they don't realize that they're making short-term decisions in a long-term situations. And when I looked on the people I was dating and how I was doing it, I was going on a case-by-case every day, short-term decisions. Is he cute? Is he going to take me to someplace I want? Does he have a nice car? Like you were talking about, Cece. You know, does he seem, how
does he have great retirement benefits?
Health insurance. Does he have health insurance? Right. So when you realize that everything except buying ice cream is a long-term situation, you start making different choices, and you want to hang out with other people who get it.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with 20-somethings, to give them that mental image totally changes how they choose a career, choose the people they date. And honestly, if I had had that viewpoint at the beginning, I probably never would have gotten divorced. I was married 28 years, my first marriage. We would have totally structured our marriage differently had we been sharing a long-term vision of what we were trying to do.
Absolutely.
So,
no, that's so true. I remember, because we go back way back, Marcey, you and I remember when you were dating, and I remember when you were dating a lot. Talking one time, and she said, like, you had like a couple dates in one day or something like that, and you were.
I think 4 was my record.
You were like, wild. She was a wild woman.
Wait a minute.
Wild.
I'm telling you, Kit, that profile I sent you, I'll tell you, I just had to put that up for a couple of days, and I had them lining up like at the airport.
Plus, you are a beautiful woman. You
thank you.
You say you're 65, but you are a gorgeous woman, and you're friendly and happy and bubbly, and I think people are attracted to that. I know that I am, and I hope that
I am.
Yeah. I mean, we want someone with life. I mean, in us. I can't tell you how many people
I need somebody. I need somebody like that in my life, because I could be a miserable pain in the ass.
And he can. And when you're right, you are right.
Well, and we mentioned it before, and I know we're getting close to the end of our time. What we mentioned before was stop dating. Just start having a life that makes you really interesting and high energy. And the people who you run into while you're having a great time already like what you like. I mean, I found a dancing man because I was at dances. I could have maybe found one at a bowling alley, but not a big chance. And who do you meet in bars? People who like to drink. Well, that isn't what I was looking for. So it's a matter of positioning yourself in the kind of life you want, and then looking around and see who else is there. And they're most likely already really close to being a match for you. And if people want to know, if people think this is interesting, and this neuroscience stuff is not for everybody, but if people want to see how it applies to everything in life, go to the Low Regret Living Facebook page and like it, and you'll get the information when the book is coming out. And I'm happy to do one-on-ones for people to let people figure out where they are in the process, and depending on where you are is going to depend on how you position yourself so that you're right in the path of high energy, interesting people, like Cece was saying. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. Well, Marcey, we've got to take just a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk about before it's too late. Your new book that's coming out. So we'll talk about that in just a minute, okay? So we want to go ahead and take a quick break. We want to tell everyone that we are heading now into Going Solo with Cece. So we're making a combination show. Yeah. So we just did boy and girl thing, and so now we're going into Going Solo with Cece, and both.
So in other words, you're requiring me to stick around. Is that what you're saying?
You can.
Okay.
Well,
you are so lucky. Lucky you.
I gotta make up a bill for you. My services don't come cheap.
Yeah. I know you're eating.
Let me get up on my chair. It's getting deep in here.
Well, I just wanted to be able to share that with you guys, that we are doing a little bit longer extended show, because I think Marcey Walsh is just an outstanding individual, and she brings a wealth of information. Her and I have been friends for so long, and I was around when she met her husband, and it's a joy. It's a joy to have her in the house.
She gets my sense of humor.
I know, and you know who else is in the house? Look at who else. Let's make a quick hi and shout out to some of the people that are here with us. We have Christina. Is he Christine on the board here? So Christine,
who?
From our show before.
Oh no. Okay, say hello to her.
Hello, Christine.
Yes, hello, Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Baumgartner.
Yep, you say it properly. So Christine is here. She's a fabulous coach, and we're so glad that she's in the house here with us. So it's great to see her. We have Sylvia here. Oh, hello there. She's showing her. She said hello, so we can have her up there on that.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have you here. And then we also have who else do we have? We have Sheila that's here. Hey Sheila, it's nice to see you. Sally, of course, you're always here. I love you, Sally.
And Sylvia. I love you to death, Sylvia. And
Catherine.
One of my absolute favorite people. Okay, the lovely Catherine.
I know, she's beautiful. And I know she says, this is what Catherine says. Catherine says, hey, handsome kid. Are you wearing your glasses tonight?
Well, yeah, and she might have knocked back a cocktail or two.
It
is that time of day.
Well, we have a gentleman on here too. So we have some people that haven't made any comments, but we want to thank you guys for listening to us and being with us each and every week. So we do appreciate that. So we are going to step back in. We want to make sure you guys know you are listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. We are the Singles Network talk show station. We have a live streaming 24/7 radio, and now we have a live streaming 24/7 internet TV. So you can catch all of our shows on that. So I'm really excited about that. Go to our site. It's just goingsolonetwork.com or WGSN-DB.com.
And we've been kind of teasing this for several months now.
Yes, go ahead and tease.
But we've got something. We're going to have a major announcement within, we're hoping,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Within the next month.
And right? Christine's going to be a part of that. So we really want to do a shout out.
And Marcey too.
Oh, I hope so. I hope we can get Marcey to come on board with us on that. And so anyone else that's out there listening, if you want to help us.
You let me talk to Marcey.
Okay,
I'll have a, if I talk to Marcey.
Let me have a little more wine, Kit. You're looking more handsome by the moment.
I know, he's so funny. But we do want to thank you guys. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got a bunch of new shows that are going to be hitting, the wavelength here. And so we're really excited about what's happening. So we've got a lot of cool things happening. We've got some, events that are going to be planned here soon. And also my good friend Lori, she was on here before. I think she popped off, but Lori helps me with some of the gatherings of the travel. So we are planning some really big trips. So we're excited about that. And I'm going to actually be going on some traveling next year. And so maybe you come too, huh?
Well, let me see.
You can stay here and work. He'll stay here and work, and I'll go travel.
Let me see the guest list first, okay?
I think we're going to need to set a cruise.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, what?
I think we need to set a cruise.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things we are definitely planning, a singles cruise. So we like that, but not everybody's
clothing optional.
You will be left home. Okay, let's let's bring Marcey back because I think we can't trust you here. So absolutely. So let's bring her on back. This is Marcey Walsh, and it's great to have you back aboard with us.
Hi, Marcey. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
We're talking about the secret to low regret dating. And now let's talk a little bit about your book. You've got this great book here. Now, is the book out already?
It is not out yet. I keep getting lured into different areas to do more and more research. I was just at Penn State University talking to the career services people because actually they're calling it Generation Z, the kids that are in college right now, and how they're approaching moving into their careers is totally different. And we're helping them to get a picture of the whole process of their life so that they make some great decisions right now. And then, of course, the millennials, the way they hop from job to job. So we're not only using this NeuroKeys approach to careers, but working with health people, with diabetes educators, and then, of course, financial planners are trying so hard to get people to realize how long and expensive life is. So we're finding that using this neuro approach to things like that to give people the mental picture in order to stop self-sabotaging. And I'll tell you, people like us, alpha females and alpha males, we self-sabotage better than anybody else. We can make bad situations last way longer than other people. So going around the back door to the brain is really, they're finding that that's the key. They can make people change behavior short term. I mean, a cattle prod will do that. But to get people to make a long-term behavior change so that your outcomes are better, that's what we're finding, that this neurological approach is making all the difference.
Maybe we could get this as a tool that we can have when we're dating. And so when we meet someone that isn't quite right, we can just zap them.
Well, actually, I have a friend who has been with me through this whole journey developing this, and she started taking this small tool with her on the date. And it's kinesthetic, so you can see it and you get your hands on it. And every single first date, she would make the guy do this activity so that she would know that he's a long-term thinker. If he wasn't a long-term thinker, then they weren't a match. So I never expected her to do that, but it worked very well for her. She's actually in a very stable relationship right now.
I agree with that, because I think that as we're dating, if we are talking about the dating, there's been several times where I have met people, individuals, where I realized that they're not going to be long-term for me. Sure, they're fun, have a good time with them and that kind of thing, but they're not going to be someone that's going to be, like you said, when you met Robert, that you would introduce them to your kids. It's not someone that you're going to keep. So when that happens, especially at our age, I mean, I think that we need to say, put them in the friend zone and move on, unless that's what you're really looking for. And sometimes as we're going through dating, we really have to analyze ourselves to make sure what is it that we really want in our lives. Because
good point.
This world has changed, dating has changed, our relationships have changed, and it's very, very different now.
But people are the same. That's the lovely thing. That people are people, and they all have a brain, and they react to things pretty much the same way. And the nice thing is, what makes my work so easy is this all has to do with time. And how much time are you going to invest in exploring this relationship? How much time do you expect to get from this relationship? But time is easy because it only moves in one direction. There's not a lot of variables there. So when you invest time and energy in something, you have to realize you have to have a great relationship with yourself. Anybody you spend time with has to be better than just the good time you'd have on your own. Otherwise, why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're moving through the process, it needs the person, that what they're offering, what you might have in the relationship, because a relationship has color and depth and vibrancy and all of those things. it needs to be better than your last relationship. And what you have to decide by that third date is this better than anything else that I might have? Is this everything that I want? All the important things, the deal breakers, because we all have little things that make relationships challenging. If it's less than what you really need in your life, then it's not a match for you. And that doesn't mean they're a bad person or you're a bad person. And they're certainly not the only right one out there for you. So many of us, as we get older, we feel like this might be the only chance I get. Heck no, there are billions of people on this planet.
But as we age, aren't we better able?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute here. Wait, back it up.
What mirror have you been looking in?
Well, the thing is, Cece, thank goodness we are aging. The alternative is not very pleasant.
Yes, that's
Well,
true.
as aren't we better able, from our own life experiences leading up to where we are now, aren't we better able to narrow down qualities and requirements and things that we need,
Sure.
going forward? I mean, I'm no kid anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah. And my I don't know, my lack of, let's say my qualifications, and I hate to make it sound so black and white, because that's not really what I mean, are completely different than they were 30 years ago.
Of course, I would hope so.
And,
Yeah.
And so it's.
But what I was going to say is that I get what you're saying, but there are people that are so lonely that sometimes they'll stop and even though they know this person isn't exactly what they really wanted in their lives, they're willing to accept it because they just don't want to be alone.
Right.
And so
That-
as it progresses,
That's what cats are for.
Yeah.
I know.
I we'll get a little gross here. Cats and vibrators. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to cats.
But why don't you show the audience? Why don't you show the audience your vibrator?
Now you're making me blush.
Oh,
I would love to hear any comment. We have such great people that are on this event. Does anybody else have any things that they can add to it? Because this is my.
If anybody wants to make any kind of comment, ask Marcey any kind of question, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah, but I agree with that. I think that, we go down the line and if we accept things that we really don't want, then we're only in for heartache later.
Well, how much of it is accepting and how much of it is compromising? There isn't that kind of a narrow line that we walk?
Well, let's think about that. So you have your make or breaks. For instance, I would never date somebody who was a smoker. Just does not fit in what I do.
That scratches me out. Okay.
It just is a reflection of several different things, including not being a long-term thinker.
Right.
So for me, that's not a match. So I would never compromise on that one. However, I'm a morning person. Robert ain't. Now that's his problem mainly because I'm up in the morning with going, let's go for a walk. Let's go walk on the beach. And so he has to live with that. So that's where you compromise and you take into account what makes the other person happy. Fundamental things that keep you from, you have yourself, all right? Picture Venn diagrams, right? 3 Venn diagrams, 3 circles. You have yourself. That's what you bring. We sometimes call it baggage. I like to call it assets, what we bring. And then you have, does this person help you to stay who you are? Are you changing in a negative way to be with this person? That would be the first requirement. But the third one is the one that really determines whether this is better than being alone, which is, does this person push you? Do they stretch you out of your comfort zone? Do they make you be more of who you really can be? And if you get all three of those, then yeah, you're gonna rub each other wrong sometimes, but you're both helping each other grow. And how cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with
that.
Because I do think that if, especially the latter one where you mentioned, where do they help you grow? Do they, encourage you to be more than what you are, or, that feel good factor that they tend to give you. I think that is so important. And, I think you don't have any of those elements, any of those three in a relationship. I think you are going to be trying to make it work when it's just like, it's like a square peg in a round hole.
Isn't that kind of an automatic, though, that in any good relationship, the partners support one another?
Well, that's why we have divorce, is because they don't. And the thing is, you start out in a relationship where, you get that honeymoon stage and everything's wonderful, everything's great. And then as time goes on, the real person, whatever, starts emerging. Right. And then you have to figure out, can you actually be with that person?
Now, let me ask you a question, Cece. Mm-hmm. Is it that they're just now emerging, or were you so overwhelmed with endorphins that the warm fuzzies and the hot flushes were keeping you from noticing the things that you would go complain to your girlfriends later over wine? So if you're thinking long term and you're looking for the qualities in the person that shows you they're a long-term thinker, that shows you they really care about you, that they want to help you to become everything you can be, and that they can see for you that maybe even you can't see. If those things are in place.
Doesn't it take getting to this point in life to realize that takes a high level of maturity?
Yeah. That's why this activity, which we designed, allows people to get their hands, like Cece called, we call it living the line. It's very simple. It's low tech. You have a line numbered from 0 to 100, and you put a star at your age. And you put your fingers at that star, and you slide one finger down to 0, and you go, oh, that's how long I've been alive. And then you tap it to make the neurological connection. And you take your other finger and you slide it down to the 100 and slide it back. And that's how much time you have left. For instance, even women our age don't realize we need to financially support ourselves for 20 or 30 more years. We just need that mental picture. So what we found is actually children as young as 12 can do that activity, get the mental picture in their head, and they'll look at people doing silly stuff and go, are you crazy? Mm-hmm. And the fact that young women get their neurological risk assessment network finished around 22 is really important to know. If you have a baby, do I leave it on the stove or not? No, the whole village could die if a woman makes a bad decision. I'm not sure what men are doing in 6 years. However, young men get their risk assessment about 28. So it's very important for young people in their 20s to know that difference, because young men have amazing, brilliant ideas, but their brain's not done yet. It's kind of like brownies. They're delicious. They're just not done yet. So people need to understand that when they're thinking about the long-term visions. But I think if you're looking for those underlying qualities, then as the hormones ebb and flow, and as you move through windows of opportunity and windows of struggle, that's when you stick together.
Yeah.
Very, very well put.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'll just keep saying, you're approaching your point of view from a great deal of maturity. Cece and I and you and people in our age bracket, we have lived a lot of life getting to this point right now.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, and this advice that you're giving, and it's wonderful. Okay, try giving that to somebody 25 years old.
That's what's so cool. We found out a way to neurologically make that connection so that the thought of a long-term goal gets close enough to what they really think is important, to where you have like two magnets coming together when you have that click.
Yeah.
That's the aha moment. And
Right.
without that mental picture, I'll tell you, there's 3 ways that we found that people get that picture. One is to get really old. I used to talk to teenagers and I'd say, I'm as old as dirt, right? And they'd go, yeah. You know, it can be really old and you can get that viewpoint. We all grow into it eventually. There are a few people, you may know some, who are born old souls. They're just, I have one friend, Terry, who when he was like 6,
That's
he
me.
was standing at the bus in the snow up in Michigan up to his butt. And he said, "Man, when I grow up, I'm going to move someplace warm." It didn't even occur to me till after college that you could actually do that. Some people just are born with that, but not very many. And then the case we don't want is the one where you get a cancer scare, your child dies, you almost get hit by a truck, and suddenly everything snaps into place and you realize where you are in this process. And none of us want that, but it does happen. And people go, I suddenly realize what's important. So what we found that this activity, getting your hands on it, just snaps that picture into place. Literally takes 10 minutes. So I'll send that information to you guys, make it available to people if they'd like it, but it's definitely in the book. That's what it's all based on, is the picture we wish we had.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to reading that book, Marcy. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be really great. I put it out there so everyone can see it. It's Before It's Too Late, and it's by Marcey Walsh. So that's great. And also here is her website. If anyone wants to, go on it and contact her, that would be great.
And that's generally was my website for financial planners, because they're trying to get people to make a good decision, a painful decision now for a long-term benefit. Like with what we're talking about, breaking up with somebody who's okay, who's good enough, because you know that by dating them, you're burning their daylight and you're not open to what could come up.
Right.
So yeah, the Low Regret Living Facebook page, just go ahead and like it, and then you'll find out when it comes out.
Okay.
Before it's too late. I will get it published before it's too late.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, this has been a great show, and I want to thank you so much. It's so nice to see you again. We've got to get together and catch up for sure.
And we'll work on your new project.
Until the next time.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next time already.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Everyone that's joined us, we just want to thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We do appreciate it. And we'll be right back here, same place. Well, we'll be on the WGSN-DB Going Solo network page, hopefully, if everything goes right. If not, we'll be back here.
Somehow, some way. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Can't keep you off the air.
Yeah, we'll do it somehow. And please, go on our site. We posted the site there, and you can go into the live streaming radio or the live streaming TV, internet TV, and we've got all these great shows up. Of course, this show will be posted up there too. So thank you, Marcey. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Good night, Marcey.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, well, this is Cece with Going Solo, and we have Kit Smith with us with the boy and girl thing.
Working on overtime.
I know, and we've had a great show, and we really appreciate you all. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Good night.